Associated Press has this piece that says more than 1 million voters switch to the Republican Party in a warning for Democrats. Well, how do they connect? First, let me tell you what this article talks about. This political shift is beginning to take hold across the United States. And according to the AP, hundreds of thousands of suburban swing voters who helped fuel the Democratic Party's gains in recent years, they're becoming Republicans now. And according to voter registration data that was analyzed by the Associated Press, more than 1 million voters across 43 states have switched to the Republican Party over the last year. How could that be? The previously unreported number reflects a phenomenon, according to the AP, that is playing out in virtually every region of the country. Democratic states, Republican states, cities, small towns. And it's happening in the period since Biden replaced Donald Trump. What? But nowhere, according to the AP, is the shift more pronounced and more dangerous for Democrats than in the suburbs. Because, the suburbs, well, we know what the suburbs are. That's where well-educated white people who turned against Trump's Republican Party in recent years appears to be turning back to Trump. What's this got to do with fucked up Christianity? Well, I don't think I have to make the connection for you. White nationalism, racism, it's all found in Christianity. And Christianity is found in white nationalism and racism. And as this surge of this mad, insane Christian fascism rolls over this country, from local state houses to the Supreme Court, it's pulling people into its maw, into its gullet. It's devouring people. Is that too graphic? No. According to the AP, over the last year, more people are switching to the so-called Republican Party across suburban counties from Denver to Atlanta, Pittsburgh, Cleveland. And it says Republicans, and they still use that term, and I will not use it except in quoting, but to me it's fascist Christianity. Those fascist Christians are gaining ground in counties around medium-sized cities like Harrisburg, PA, Raleigh, Augusta, Georgia, Des Moines, Iowa. And then the AP quotes this guy named Ben Smith. He's a 37-year-old professional counselor. And he lives in suburban Larimer County, which is just north of Denver. And he said he reluctantly registered as a Republican earlier in the year after becoming increasingly concerned about the Democrats' support for mandatory COVID-19 vaccines. What? And also the Democratic Party's inability to stop violent crime, and the Democratic Party's focus on racial justice. And that drove this fucking Ben Smith, this 37-year-old white man, away from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party. Too much focus on racial justice. Support in some localities for mandatory COVID-19 vaccines. I wonder if this ignorant fucker has children in school. If he does, obviously, he's required to provide mandatory vaccinations to his children now. So what the fuck is going on here? But this guy, 37-year-old white man, professional counselor, he said his transition away from the Democratic Party began a couple of years ago when he registered as a libertarian. Now, you might say, well, Malloy, you've registered as an independent. Yeah, fuck yes. But not because I think that the Democrats are pushing COVID-19 vaccines mandatory or that there is too much focus on racial justice. It's because I don't think there's enough. But anyway, he says he registered as a libertarian, and he said, quote, it's more so a rejection of the left than embracing the right, end quote. Well, at the risk of trying to sound like a smartass, I don't think our Mr. Smith here understands what the Libertarian Party is about. When he says, well, I'm trying to reject the left, not embrace the right, and you become a libertarian? Why don't you become an independent, like your buddy Mike Malloy here? Asshole. Anyway, the AP examined nearly 2 million voters who had likely switched affiliations from the Democratic Party to the Fascist Christian Party across 42 states. And the data covers just the last 12 months. That's according to a political polling and data firm called L2. L2 uses a combination of state voter records and statistical modeling to determine party affiliation. Now, party switching is not uncommon. The data shows, however, a definite reversal from the period while Trump was in office. That's when Democrats enjoyed a slight edge in the number of party switchers nationwide. But over the last year, about over 1 million voters who changed their party affiliation shifted from the so-called Democratic Party to the so-called Republican Party, the Fascist Christian Party. So what's going on? Democrats, of course, now are hoping that the Supreme Court's decision on Friday to take privacy in reproductive issues away from women and give that privacy to the state. Well, they don't give privacy to the state, but they give the right to tell a woman to sit the fuck down and shut up. Don't you even think about controlling your own reproductive organs. So the Democrats are hoping that that decision will energize supporters, particularly in the suburbs, ahead of the midterms coming up this November. But according to this deep research, that doesn't appear to be happening. And a lot of it has to do with Biden's unpopularity, which to me is just horseshit. I mean, what the fuck is Biden supposed to do? Everything that he tried to do to help all of us was shit-canned by a couple of Democrats and all the Republicans. And here we are about 4 months before Election Day, and Democrats have no clear strategy to try to address Biden's weak popularity. And the other thing that gets me, voters' overwhelming fear that this country is headed in the wrong direction with the Democratic Party in charge. But it's the Republican Party that is taking us in the wrong direction. It is Republicans who are refusing to honor lawful subpoenas. It is Republicans who are saying no to economic stimulus programs like infrastructure, like voting rights. It's Republicans, fascist Christians, who are saying no to a woman's right to sovereignty over her own body. It's Republicans, fascist Christians, who are saying it's okay to carry fucking semi-automatic weapons into a goddamn school. And yet, 1.7 million voters have switched from Democrat to Republican. According to the AP, Republicans benefited last year because suburban parents grew increasingly frustrated by prolonged pandemic-related school closures. Oh, yeah, so take it out on the political party. What the fuck? It is science, Mr. and Mrs. Suburbanite. It is science. Would you rather have a dead child, a funeral to go to? You crazy bastards? And as inflation intensified recently here, the Republican National Committee has been having voter registration events at gas stations in suburban areas across swing states like Arizona, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, trying to link the Biden administration to these record high gas prices. And the fascist Christians are also linking Biden to this baby formula shortage. A fucking factory in Michigan discovered bacteria in one of their machines that makes this slop. And they shut the factory down. And that caused a baby formula shortage. But the fascist Christians are saying it's Biden's fault. And the white, educated suburbanites are agreeing? Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity. But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcast. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.